Hello everyone. Today I am going to deal with the topic intrinsic semiconductors, its carrier concentration and Fermi energy. Intrinsic semiconductors are the type of semiconductors which are said to be pure. That is, we have not added any impurities or dopants in order to increase its electrical conductivity. And today we are going to derive its carrier concentration and Fermi energy equations, which is very important while studying semiconductors. So the most important property of any semiconductor at any given temperature is its number of electrons per unit volume in conduction band and the number of holes per unit volume in valence band. That is coming under the carrier concentration. Because we know that in intrinsic semiconductors, the number of electrons is equals to the number of holes, because the electrons which are present in the valence band, they are excited to the conduction band across the energy gap which occupy the bottom of the conduction band. So bottom of the conduction band is filled with the electrons and top of the valence band are filled with holes. And as the conduction electrons are responsible due to the transition from the valence band, the number of electrons will be equal to the number of holes. And these are the free carriers. That's why both electrons and holes are responsible for electrical conductivity in case of semiconductors. And Fermi energy. Fermi energy is the maximum energy possessed by an electron at 0 Kelvin, we can say, or it is again a quantum mechanical phenomena where Fermi energy is usually referred to the energy difference between the highest and lowest occupied single particle states. And generally we define Fermi energy at absolute zero temperature. So all these things and the corresponding equations we are going to study in today's session. Here we are involving some of the statistical terms, because we know electrons are nothing but fermions. That's why the distribution function can be derived from the Fermi-Dirac statistics, which is nothing but f of E is equals to 1 upon exponential of E minus EF divided by KBT plus 1. So f of E is nothing but the distribution function and EF is greater than E. So when we plot a graph according to this equation, that is f of E, the Fermi distribution function along y-axis and energy along x-axis, we get certain nature which is shown here. So here different cases are there. We are going to concentrate on different temperatures. So first, at T is equals to 0 Kelvin. If you put T is equals to 0 Kelvin in equation number 1, it is going to be equal to 1. That is, f of E will be equal to 1. Just check exponential of E minus EF divided by 0. It is like exponential of 1 by 0, that is infinity. But E minus EF is negative because EF is greater than E. That's why it will be E raised to minus infinity. E raised to minus infinity is nothing but 1 by E raised to infinity. So E raised to infinity is infinity. So 1 by infinity is going to be equal to 0. That's why at T is equals to 0 Kelvin, f of E will be equal to 1. That is the highest occupancy. So from the graph we can see we are getting a straight line. That is, at EF we will be having the maximum probability, and even below EF the probability or the occupancy of electrons or the carriers is maximum, which is equal to 1. So the rectangular graph is corresponding to T is equals to 0 Kelvin. But as the temperature is increasing, what will happen? The occupied states below EF are going to be unoccupied and they occupy the higher energy states. And again, if the temperature is increased like T2, so T is 0 Kelvin, we are having the rectangular graph. As T is increased to T1, we can observe another graph, and again the temperature is increased, the unoccupied states below EF is increasing and they are occupying the tail region which is having more energy. So the total energy of the system is going on increasing as temperature is increasing. Another point to be remembered is at EF, if you put E is equals to EF in equation number 1, that is 1 divided by exponential of EF minus EF by kBt plus 1. So exponential of 0 it will be when energy is equals to EF. So e raised to 0 is nothing but 1. That's why f of E will be equal to 1 by 1 plus 1, which is nothing but 1 by 2. That's why when you look at the graph at EF, all the distribution curves are passing through the same point, which is nothing but f of E is equals to half. This is another point to be remembered when you come across this concept. So this is the explanation according to the Fermi-Dirac statistics, and occupation of high energy states increases with increase in the temperature because the occupied states below EF are becoming unoccupied and occupying the tail region. Next, what happens in tail region? So in tail region we know E minus EF by kBt is going to be very much greater than 1 because energy is greater when compared to EF, and again temperature is also increased, which is in the denominator. Again we know what is the Boltzmann constant value. So when we take this ratio at high temperatures, the ratio, that is E minus EF by kBt, is going to be very much greater than 1. So if you use this in equation number 1, we can just neglect 1 in the denominator because already the fraction is very much greater than 1. The exponential of that fraction is going to be again very much greater than 1. That's why the denominator term is dominating and we can just neglect one term from the denominator. That's why we are remaining with f of E is equals to 1 by exponential of E minus EF by kBt only. So when I bring it on the numerator side, it is going to be exponential of EF by kBt into exponential of minus E by kBt, which I am giving the equation number as 2. And this is the equation which is having the form of Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics. So Fermi-Dirac statistics is now reduced into Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics. Next, in order to solve the carrier concentration, we need to know about the density of states. That is, here we are considering certain range and we are finding what actually are the number of electrons in that energy range. So density of states is given as GE of E is equals to 1 by 2 pi square into 2me by h cross square whole raised to 3 by 2 into square root of E minus Eg. So this is for the electrons in the conduction bands which are free. Me is the effective mass of electron, Eg is the energy gap. So this equation gives the density of states. Then the number of electrons in the energy range E plus dE is nothing but the distribution function into the density of states for a given range dE. And then the concentration of electrons throughout the conduction band can be given as N is equals to integration from EC1 to EC2 of f of e into ge of e into de. So EC1 and EC2, it can be seen from the diagram. So it is the lower or the bottom of the conduction band to the higher conduction band. So we are considering that range and we are integrating over that range so that we will get the concentration of electrons throughout the conduction band. Here we can observe the nature of Fermi energy with respect to the conduction band as well as valence band in intrinsic semiconductors. Then second is the distribution function. In the previous slide I had shown energy along x-axis and f of e along y-axis. Now it is interchanged as f of e is considered on x-axis and e along y-axis. And then is the density of states for electrons as well as holes. So in conduction band it is with respect to electrons and in valence band it is with respect to holes. Because it is clear that is ge of e is depending on energy as a square root of E minus Eg. That's why we are having this nature which can be inferred from equation number 3. Next, we need to find out the carrier concentration, that is the concentration of electrons in conduction band, which is nothing but N. So in equation number 4, we need to substitute the value of f of E, that is equation number 2, and value of ge of E from equation number 3. So we get N is equals to integration from Eg to infinity, because we are considering only for the conduction band. So Eg to infinity of, first we have put the equation number 2, that is exponential of EF by kBt into exponential of minus E by kBt. Then the next term is of ge of E, which is equation number 3. Then we have brought the constant terms out of the integration sign and the variables are kept inside the integration sign. So the integration is over the range with respect to energy. So the energy terms are inside the integration. But EF is constant. That's why exponential of EF by kBt is taken outside the integration sign. In order to solve this equation, we need to use the method of substitution. So let us put x is equals to E minus Eg divided by kBt. So E minus Eg will be equal to kBt into x, which can be substituted into integration from Eg to infinity term, and in order to change the domain or the integration range, we need to integrate the same equation so that it will be equal to dx equal to de by kBt. Eg is constant, so it is going to vanish. So de will be equal to kBt into dx. So now substituting this into the above equation, we get n is equals to the constant term as it is into integration from 0 to infinity. So the range is going to change because we are going to put x is equals to E minus Eg divided by kBt. So when you put E is equals to Eg, x is going to be equal to 0. And when E is equals to infinity, x is going to be equal to infinity. Then E minus Eg raised to half is nothing but kBt into x raised to half. Then exponential of minus E by kBt is nothing but exponential of minus Eg by kBt minus x. Then de is kBt into dx. Again taking the constant terms outside the integration sign and only the terms with x are kept inside the integral sign. And then finally when you solve this integral, the integration from 0 to infinity of e raised to minus x into square root of x into dx is nothing but root pi by 2. So when you put and simplify it in this equation, we get n is equals to 2 times of me kBt divided by 2 pi h cross square whole raised to 3 by 2 into exponential of EF minus EG divided by kBt. Let us call it as equation number 5, and this is giving us the number of electrons in the conduction band. So one part is over. Then next we need to find out the number of holes in valence band, because both are responsible for electrical conductivity. Then only we can find out what is the intrinsic carrier concentration. So now let us switch to the calculation of number of holes in the valence band. For that we have to see the probability, and we know the total probability of occupancy with respect to the Fermi distribution function is as shown, that is Fe of E plus Fh of E is equals to 1. Fermi distribution, that first term is corresponding to the distribution function with respect to electrons in conduction band, and second term is with respect to holes in the valence band. We have already found out what is Fe of E. Now using that we can find out what is Fh of E. So Fh of E will be equal to 1 minus Fe of E, which is nothing but 1 by exponential term plus 1, that is from equation number 1. So if you solve it, we can get it as 1 by 1 plus exponential of minus E minus EF by kBt. So what we have done here, we have just taken the LCM. So cross multiply, then we will be having exponential term plus 1 minus 1 divided by the same denominator. So plus 1 minus 1 are going to cancel out. Then dividing both the numerator and denominator by exponential term, we will get 1 divided by 1 plus e raised to minus of E minus EF by kBt. So this is nothing but or nearly equal to exponential of E minus EF by kBt, because we know E minus EF by kBt, it is again the condition which is greater than 1. So 1 can be again neglected or ignored, and finally we get equation number 6. The approach of solving this is again the same. We need to find out, or we need to consider the density of states for holes, which is nothing but GH of E is equals to 1 by 2 pi square into 2 mH by h cross square raised to 3 by 2 into square root of minus E. mH is the effective mass of hole present in the valence band. Then concentration of holes can be found out by integrating over a range from minus infinity to 0 Fh of E into GH of E into dE. So this is taken to be equal to P, which is the concentration of holes in the valence band. Again putting back all the values, that is from equation number 6 and equation number 7, taking out the constant terms and keeping the energy terms within the integral sign. Again integration we have taken from minus infinity to 0. While explaining about the band diagram, I explained that the top of the valence band is considered generally to be at k is equals to 0 or E is equals to 0. So top is, or the upper limit is going to be equal to 0. But we don't know what actually is the extent of valence band. So we say that the valence band is extending to minus infinity, that is on the negative y direction. So the lower limit of the integral is taken to be minus infinity. So in order to solve this integral, again we need a method of substitution, and we put x is equals to minus E by kBt. So again taking dx, putting dE and finding out the integral, then integration will be with respect to the reverse one, and that will be equal to minus of root pi by 2. So when you substitute the value of integral and solve it, we get the p value to be equal to 2 times of mh, it is not me, it is mh kBt by 2 pi h cross square raised to 3 by 2 into e raised to minus ef by kBt, which is equation number 8, and this gives the number of holes in the valence band. Just note, it is mh, which is nothing but effective mass of holes. So here we have found out what is the number of electrons in the conduction band and what is the number of holes in the valence band. So next, let us switch over in finding out what is the Fermi energy as well as the intrinsic carrier concentration. So we know in intrinsic semiconductors, electrons in conduction band are due to the excitations from the valence band across energy gap. We are not adding some electrons into the conduction band, or we are not adding any impurities. So all the electrons or holes which are responsible for electrical conductivity are entirely due to the excitations or transitions. So we can say that N is equals to P, that is number of electrons in the conduction band is equals to the number of holes in the valence band. Then we can just equate these two, because we have already found out what is N and what is P. So when you equate, some of the terms are going to get cancelled and we are left with the exponential term and ME and MH term. Again, just note, on the RHS side it is MH instead of ME. So exponential of 2 EF by kBt will be equal to MH by ME raised to 3 by 2 into exponential of EG by kBt. So here on the left hand side there is exponential of EF by kBt, and on the right hand side also there is an exponential of minus EF by kBt. So when you bring it on LHS side, they are going to add up. So it is 2 EF by kBt. So 2 are going to get cancelled. kBt by 2 pi h cross square whole raised to 3 by 2 is again going to get cancelled. So we are remaining with mh by me whole raised to 3 by 2 into e raised to Eg by kBt. I have brought the exponential with respect to energy gap on the right hand side, so that we will get the Fermi energy as well as the carrier concentration in terms of energy gap. Then taking the square roots on both the sides, we will get exponential of EF by kBt is equals to mh by me whole raised to 3 by 4 into exponential of Eg by 2 kBt. So that I am keeping only the Fermi energy term on the left hand side. In order to get the Fermi energy, we need to take the natural logarithm, that is nothing but ln, which is nothing but log to the base e on both the sides. Then we get EF by kBt into ln e. We know ln e is nothing but 1. So it will be equal to ln of mh by me whole raised to 3 by 4 plus ln of exponential of Eg by 2 kBt. So we know ln of or log of a into b is nothing but log a plus log b. The same thing we have used. Again, ln of m raised to m is nothing but n into log of m. The same thing, we are using the properties and writing it as equal to 3 by 4 into ln of mh by me plus Eg by 2 kBt into ln e. Ln e is again 1. So when you just bring the kBt on right hand side, we get what is the equation for Fermi energy, which is equation number 10. So EF is equals to Eg by 2 plus 3 by 4 kBt into ln mh by me. So now we have got the equation of Fermi energy in terms of energy gap, and also it is depending on temperature as well as effective masses of electron and hole also. So this is the equation by which we can get some of the information of an semiconductor or intrinsic semiconductor. So if you see the two terms on the RHS side, we can reduce this equation so that we get some conclusions out of it. We know KBT is very much less than EG because we know what is the order of KB. And generally energy gap is in terms of electron volts, that is less than 5 electron volt. So KBT is going to be very much less than EG. Then we can say that the second term on the RHS is very much less than the first term on the RHS, that is EG by 2. And by using this, we can just say our EF is approximately equal to EG by 2, that is half of the energy gap. That's why we conclude that the Fermi energy level or Fermi level is close to the middle of the energy gap. So if we consider the conduction band and the valence band, the Fermi energy in intrinsic semiconductor is going to lie almost at the center of the energy gap. We know energy gap is nothing but the minimum distance between the top of the valence band and bottom of the conduction band. So EF is going to be almost at the center or middle of the energy gap in case of intrinsic semiconductors. And the next conclusion we can say is the bottom of the conduction band and top of the valence band are far away from Fermi level. They are not close to conduction band or to the valence band. They are almost at the center of energy gap. So this is about Fermi energy or Fermi level. Next, let us continue with the derivation of carrier concentration, that is intrinsic carrier concentration. So now we are going to substitute equation number 9 into equation number 5. That is equation number 9 is exponential of EF by KBT, and equation number 5 is nothing but N, which is nothing but the number of electrons in the conduction band. So when you substitute, Ni is going to be equal to 2 times of KBT by 2 pi h cross square whole raised to 3 by 2 into Me raised to 3 by 2 into E raised to minus Eg by KBT. I have brought Me term outside the bracket and written separately. Then we were having E raised to EF minus Eg by KBT. So minus Eg by KBT exponential term I have kept as it is, and in place of E raised to EF by KBT I am substituting from equation number 9, which is nothing but Mh by Me whole raised to 3 by 4 into E raised to Eg by 2 KBT. So when you solve it, we get Ni in terms of Me and Mh, that is nothing but intrinsic carrier concentration is equal to 2 times of KBT by 2 pi h cross square whole raised to 3 by 2 into Me into Mh raised to 3 by 4 into exponential of minus Eg by 2 KBT. So here we can observe that intrinsic carrier concentration is depending on temperature, and almost other terms are constant, that is KB, H cross, Me, Mh, Eg, all these are constant. So we can say we have got an equation of carrier concentration in terms of temperature. Again, temperature there are two terms, but the dominating term is the exponential term, that is Ni increases rapidly and exponentially as a function of temperature. Out of these two temperature terms, that is one is T raised to 3 by 2 and another temperature dependent term is exponential of minus Eg by 2 kBt. in these two, the exponential term is going to dominate. So we can consider all other terms to be almost constant when you are considering the function of intrinsic carrier concentration as a function of temperature. So the equation 12 can be written as N or Ni is equals to constant C into exponential of minus Eg by 2 kBt. And when you operate ln, that is natural logarithm, on both the sides, it is going to be ln n is equals to ln c plus of ln exponential of minus Eg by 2 kBt, which will be equal to minus Eg by 2 kBt into ln E. Ln E is 1. So using this equation, we can plot a graph of ln n as a function of 1 by t. We can observe from this equation, that is, it is not going to start from the origin because it is having certain intercept. The equation is similar to the straight line equation, that is y is equals to mx plus c. So here y is nothing but ln n, c is nothing but ln c, and mx is nothing but minus Eg by 2 kb into 1 by t. So x is 1 by t, then remaining is m. And m is having negative sign, that is minus Eg by 2 kb. So the nature of the graph is having negative slope. So the nature can be observed like this because of the minus sign. Then if you take the slope of it, the slope is going to be equal to Eg by 2 kb, that is from the equation which we have already solved. So as the temperature is going on changing, we will get to know what is the carrier concentration, that is N. And when you plot the graph, as we have kb is going to be a constant, that is the Boltzmann constant, by calculating the slope of the graph, we can easily calculate what is the energy gap of the given semiconductors. So easily we can determine which type of semiconductor we have utilized. So this is the application or use of this equation. Then in order to find the typical value, let us put energy gap is equals to 1 electron volt, then Me, Mh both are equal, which is equated to the rest mass of the electron, which is nothing but 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 31 kg. Then we are considering the temperature near to the room temperature, that is 300 Kelvin, and when we put all these values in equation number 12, we get the intrinsic carrier concentration approximately equal to the order of 10 raised to 15 electrons per centimeter cube. And we know in intrinsic semiconductor N is equals to P. So in this way we can find out the typical value of carrier concentration, or what is the carrier concentration of intrinsic semiconductor as well as its Fermi energy, what is the nature or location of it. So when you substitute these values, it is coming up to become equal to 10 raised to 15 electrons per centimeter cube, which is again a typical value of carrier concentration in semiconductors. So experimentally also we are getting the same, and by using this equation also we are getting the same result. So this is about the intrinsic carrier concentration and Fermi energy and some of the conclusions drawn out of it. So this is for today's session. Thank you.